Before you scroll away, let me ask you something uncomfortable. How many years have passed where you told yourself, "I'll start saving next year"? How many quiet nights have you felt that fear that time is moving forward, but your money isn't? Because the truth is, the most expensive mistake most people make isn't losing money. It's losing time. And every month that passes without a plan quietly steals a piece of your future. Most people watching this are not lazy. They're tired. They wake up early, work long hours, carry responsibilities on their shoulders, and still feel like money slips through their fingers. Your salary arrives, and before you even have time to breathe, it's already divided rent, food, family needs, bills, emergencies. By the end of the month, there's barely anything left, and you're left wondering how people even talk about investing when you're just trying to survive. And maybe you've told yourself, when I earn more, then I'll invest. But years go by, expenses rise with income. Deep down, there's a quiet fear you don't like to admit, the fear of getting older. The fear of reaching a time when your body is tired, but your savings are empty. The fear of becoming dependent when you wanted to be independent. This video isn't about getting rich fast. It's not about risky bets or complicated charts. It's about building a life where money slowly stops controlling you and you start controlling it. It's about self-respect. About choosing not to abandon your future self just because today feels heavy. Think about this. Every financial decision you make is a vote. A vote for comfort now, or a vote for freedom later. And when money is tight, voting for the future feels almost impossible. But this is where most people misunderstand investing. They think it requires big money. It doesn't. What it requires is consistency, patience, and the courage to start small while feeling uncomfortable. Imagine someone earning a modest income, supporting parents, paying school fees, handling rising prices. They don't suddenly get a miracle salary. What they do get is a quiet habit. They decide that no matter what, a small amount will go toward their future every month. Not because it's easy, but because their future deserves it. At first, it feels pointless, but something changes inside. They begin to see themselves differently. Not as someone who can't invest, but as someone who is building something. Investing is not just numbers. It's identity. It's telling yourself, I matter enough to plan ahead. And that mindset compounds faster than money ever will. Most people delay because they're waiting for confidence. But confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after. The first step always feels uncertain. You'll doubt yourself. You'll wonder if it's too late. You'll compare yourself to others who started earlier. But comparison is poison. The only real comparison that matters is who you'll be 10 years from now if you do nothing, versus who you'll be if you start today. Think about the emotional weight of postponing. Every year you wait, you place more pressure on your future income to fix everything. Every delay means your money has less time to grow, and you have less room for mistakes. Time is the one resource money cannot replace. Slow wealth is quiet. It doesn't show off. It grows in the background while life continues, while you work, while you struggle, while you take care of others. It rewards discipline, not excitement. And that's why so few people commit to it, because it doesn't give instant validation. But here's the truth no one tells you. The person who invests small amounts consistently is often more financially secure than the person who earns more but spends everything. Income matters, yes, but behavior matters more. When you begin investing, even with a small income, you start creating a gap between what you earn and what you keep. That gap is your power. At first, it's tiny, almost invisible. But over years, it becomes the difference between anxiety and peace, between working because you have to and working because you choose to. This journey requires patience. There will be months when unexpected expenses hit and you feel tempted to stop. But investing teaches you emotional strength. It teaches you to stay calm when others panic, to think long-term in a world obsessed with now. You don't need perfection. You need commitment. You need a simple plan you can follow, even on hard days. Because the goal isn't to impress anyone. The goal is to protect your future. That discomfort is awareness. It's the part of you that knows things need to change. Not dramatically, not overnight, but steadily. In the next part, we'll talk about how small steps, taken consistently, quietly transform ordinary people into financially strong individuals without stress, without complexity, and without pretending life is easier than it really is. Most people imagine that wealth is built through big moments, a big promotion, a big investment, a big opportunity. But in real life, wealth is built in very small, almost boring moments. Moments where no one is watching. Moments where you choose discipline over relief. Where you choose the future over the present, even when the present feels heavy. If you live on a small income, every decision carries weight. When money is limited, mistakes feel expensive. That's why many people avoid investing altogether. They're not afraid of losing money. They're afraid of making the wrong choice and having nothing to fall back on. That fear is valid. It comes from responsibility, from knowing that your money isn't just yours. It supports parents, children, partners, and sometimes entire families. But avoiding investing doesn't remove risk. It simply shifts the risk to the future. It creates a silent danger, the danger of reaching a point where time has run out and options are limited. There's a quiet moment that many people experience, often late at night. Bills are paid. The house is silent, and a question appears in the mind. If I stop working tomorrow, what happens to my life? That question doesn't need an answer right now, but it needs attention. Ignoring it doesn't make it disappear. It only makes it louder over time. Investing slowly about answering that question little by little. It's not about sacrificing joy or living in fear. It's about balance, about understanding that every small amount you set aside is not a loss. It's a transfer. You're moving money from today's comfort to tomorrow's security? Let's talk about the emotional resistance that stops people. It often sounds like logic, but it's really fear. My income is too small. I don't know enough. What if I need that money later? These thoughts feel protective, but they trap you in the same place year after year. The truth is, no one ever feels fully ready. The people who started earlier didn't have more confidence. They just started with less clarity and learned along the way. Investing is not something you master before you begin. It's something you learn by doing, slowly, carefully, and with respect for your situation. Small investing teaches patience in a world that rewards impatience. When you invest a small amount every month, you're training your mind to think beyond the next bill, beyond the next expense. You begin to see money not just as something to spend, but as something that can grow quietly over time. At first, progress feels invisible. The numbers move slowly. You may even feel discouraged. But something powerful is happening beneath the surface. You're building a habit, and habits shape futures. Think of it like this. You don't feel stronger after one workout. You don't feel healthier after one good meal. But over time, small actions change your body. Money works the same way. Consistency compounds. Many people believe that investing requires constant attention, watching markets, checking prices, feeling anxious. But slow investing, the opposite. It's calm. It's deliberate. It respects the fact that you have a life to live, a job to do, and responsibilities to carry. When your income is small, simplicity becomes your strength. You don't chase trends. You don't gamble. You choose stability. You focus on assets that grow steadily over long periods. You invest regularly, regardless of mood or headline. And slowly, something shifts inside you. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to see that you are capable of planning long term, that you are not just surviving, you are building. This internal change matters more than the money at first, because once you see yourself as an investor, even a small one, your decisions change. You spend more intentionally. You avoid unnecessary debt. You start asking better questions about money. And then there's time. Time is the quiet partner in this journey. It doesn't rush. It doesn't demand attention, but it rewards those who respect it. When you start early or even earlier than you would have otherwise, time does most of the work for you. Every year you delay, you ask your future income to work harder. Every year you invest, you allow time to carry part of the load. That's why starting small is more powerful than starting big later. There will be moments when you feel behind. Most people think financial freedom requires sacrifice without reward. But the reward is peace. The reward is knowing that you're not entirely dependent on your next paycheck. The reward is sleeping a little better at night. In the next part, we'll talk about the long-term picture. What happens when small investing meets patience over years? How ordinary people quietly build extraordinary stability, and why the future you're afraid of can still be shaped one small decision at a time when you look far into the future and feel overwhelming. Retirement feels distant. Old age feels abstract. And when today's problems are loud, tomorrow's consequences feel quiet. That's why so many people postpone thinking long term. Not because they don't care, but because caring feels heavy. But the future always arrives, quietly, patiently, without asking if you're ready. Picture two versions of yourself, 10 or 20 years from now. Both worked hard. Both faced challenges. Both had moments of fear and doubt. The only difference is that one version started investing small amounts consistently, and the other kept waiting for the right time. The gap between them won't be dramatic in 1 year, or even 3. But over time, it becomes life-changing. The version who started small has options. Not unlimited freedom, but breathing room. Medical expenses don't feel like disasters. Supporting family doesn't create panic. Work becomes a choice, not a trap. The other version feels pressure. Every expense feels heavier. Every setback feels sharper. Not because they failed, but because time was never allowed to help. This is why slow investing matters so deeply. It doesn't promise luxury. It promises dignity. When you invest patiently, you're not trying to escape work. You're trying to protect your future energy. There will come a time when your body wants rest, but your responsibilities don't disappear. That's when savings and investments become more than money. They become relief. Many people fear investing because they think one mistake will ruin everything. But slow investing is forgiving. It doesn't depend on perfect timing. It depends on staying invested, on continuing, even when markets feel uncertain, even when progress feels slow. There will be years when returns look disappointing. There will be moments when fear tells you to stop. But history shows something simple and powerful. Time rewards patience more reliably than intelligence. You don't need to predict the future. You need to participate in it. Small income investors often underestimate their strength. They know how to manage scarcity. They know how to prioritize. Those skills matter more than high salaries. When discipline meets time, results follow. And something else happens over the years. Your income may grow. Your responsibilities may change, but the habit you built stays. The amount you invest increases naturally because your mindset has already shifted. You no longer ask, "Can I invest?" You ask, "How do I protect what I'm building?" This is where slow wealth quietly separates people. Not by luck, not by talent, but by consistency. Think about the emotional burden of regret. Regret doesn't come from failure. It comes from never trying, from knowing you could have taken small steps that didn't. Investing slowly protects you from that feeling. Even if outcomes aren't perfect, you know you showed up for your future. You don't need to sacrifice your present joy. You need to protect your future peace. That balance is the heart of wise investing. There is nothing weak about starting small. There is strength in humility. Strength in accepting where you are and working from there, instead pretending to be somewhere else. Your money is not just a tool. It's a reflection of your value. When you invest with patience, you're saying that your future deserves care, that your years ahead matter much as your days now. This journey will test your patience. It will ask you to trust something you can't immediately see. But that's how all meaningful things grow. The people who succeed financially are not those who rush. They are those who stay. And if you've stayed with this message until now, because a part of you is ready to stop postponing, ready to stop hoping things will magically improve, ready to take responsibility not with fear, but with calm determination. You don't need to change your life overnight. You need to change its direction. One small step, taken consistently, over time. That is how ordinary people build extraordinary security. Before this ends, take a quiet moment with yourself. Not with numbers, not with plans, just with honesty. Ask yourself this: if nothing changes, if you keep earning, spending, worrying, and postponing, where does that road lead? Not in theory, in real life, in your body, in your peace of mind, in the way you'll feel waking up one day and realizing time has moved faster than you expected. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to ground you. Because the truth is, you still have something incredibly valuable in your hands. You have today. You have awareness. And you have the ability to choose differently, even in small ways. Getting rich slowly on a small income isn't about beating the system. It's about refusing to abandon yourself. It's about saying, "My future will not be an accident." It's about understanding that responsibility is not a burden. It's one of love. Love for the person you will become. You don't need a perfect plan to begin. You need a decision. A quiet, firm decision that no matter how small your steps are, they will move forward. That even when progress feels slow, you won't turn back. Some months will be harder than others. Life will test you. Expenses will rise. Doubts will return. But each time you continue, each time you invest even a little, you reinforce something powerful inside yourself. You prove that you can be trusted with your own future. And that trust changes everything. One day, years from now, you'll look back at this moment, not with regret, but with gratitude. Gratitude that you didn't wait for confidence, that you didn't wait for permission, that you didn't wait for life to become easier before you started caring about what comes next. Slow wealth doesn't shout. It whispers. It grows while no one notices. And then one day you notice, not because you're suddenly rich, but because you're no longer afraid of emergencies, afraid of aging, afraid of being a burden, afraid of running out of time. You may never tell anyone how it happened. There won't be a dramatic story, just years of showing up for yourself quietly, consistently, patiently. So take your first smart step. Make it small. Make it realistic. Make it sustainable. And then repeat it. Let this be the moment you stop waiting for motivation and start choosing direction. You don't need to understand everything today. You don't need perfect timing, perfect income, or perfect confidence. You only need a quiet decision, the decision that your future will no longer be an afterthought. Start where you are, with what you have, in a way that respects your life, your responsibilities, and your limits. Small steps are not weak steps. They're honest steps. And honesty, repeated over time, builds strength. There will be days when you question yourself, days when progress feels slow, days when it feels easier to stop. On those days, remember this: the goal was never speed. The goal was consistency. The goal was never to escape life, but to support it. Your future self is not asking you for sacrifice. They are asking you for commitment. They are asking you to care now, so they don't have to panic later. One day you will reach a point where money no longer feels like a constant threat, where emergencies feel manageable, where work feels less suffocating. That moment doesn't come from one big decision. It comes from hundreds of small ones, made quietly, patiently, over time. You are not late. You are not incapable. You are simply at the beginning. And beginnings don't need confidence. They need courage. So take the first smart step. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Today. Even if it's small. Especially if it's small. Because the life you're trying to protect is worth it.